I'm with Dave Booker. Appreciate you stopping by. Today we're going to continue on with Mystery in My Pocket. We just got done with an arsonist on base, and now we're going to send Harry. Oh, Lord, I'm reading too many. We're going to send Harry to Lowry, which is the 5-level school for services. So next story is called Reynolds Wrapped. Let's begin. Harry and Oliver were called into the captain's office. On the way, they did a check at the full-length mirror to ensure they looked presentable. A knock on the door, and they were requested to enter. Standing before his desk, they wondered why they had been summoned. The captain offered them a seat. "I'm pleased with the work you two have accomplished. Here I'm very pleased Oliver was able to bring you over from services. You two make a good team. I've decided to reward you both with a special assignment. How'd you both like a trip to Lowry Air Force Base in Colorado?" He grinned at the look of enthusiasm on their faces. "Harry, I need you to go into the head and shave your beard and mustache off." Harry almost came to tears. He had become fond of his facial hair and felt it made him look older and distinguished. With a faltering step, he took the preferred electric razor and went to defile himself. The man who returned looked much younger than the one who had left. Harry had a youthful face and smooth and looked younger than his 25 years. "Just as I thought," commented the captain. "Harry, we had a call from Lowry Services Schoolhouse. I understand that was your tech school after basic training." Harry agreed. "Well, I went there for 3-level, but I didn't get to go there for 5-level. I received that by cooking dinner at midnight meal by myself." The captain was interested. "Just out of curiosity, for how many people?" Just 350 for dinner and about half that for midnight, not including the grill line." The captain was impressed. "You cooked that for that many people by yourself and worked the grill?" Harry shrugged. "Yeah, I did it once to get my 5-level, and then they said because I could do it, I would work dinner at midnight on my own from then on." Oliver laughed at how Harry got suckered into working the late shift. Hold on one second. The captain continued. "Well, you're going to get a chance to go to 5-level school now." Harry leaned forward to learn more. It was obvious that he wasn't going to go and just learn to cook. There have been complaints about drugs and alcohol abuse in services training. "I want to send you both to find out who's dealing the drugs. Security isn't able to find out, and it's bad there." Oliver was set to object. "Well, why can't they send someone stateside? Why pick us?" "No, we're the only OSI section that has a services-trained person. Harry can slide in and has the knowledge to blend." He turned to Harry. "Do you still have your cook whites and paraphernalia?" "They're hanging in my closet, still starched and pressed." "I'll better go see if they still fit. Come back in, make sure the whole outfit is complete." An hour later, and Harry came back dressed for inspection. He was thankful that he kept himself in trim. The uniform still fit well. Captain Wilson walked around him. "It looks good, but we're going to reduce your rank to senior airman for the duration of this mission. You'll fit in better and won't be considered a threat. I had suggested buck sergeant, but the colonel said an NCO wouldn't be low enough to mingle with the circle we need." Harry and Oliver checked that they had their government travel card current. Harry was directed to get a new ID that showed his assumed rank. They received their orders and headed home to pack. "Come back at 1700 and I'll take you to Heathrow. By the way, Harry, do you mind if I borrow your mate while you're away? Mine's in the shop. I'd ask Oliver, but his wife needs his." Harry agreed and offered to pick up Oliver on his way back to base. Back at the office with Oliver in tow, Harry slipped out of the driver's seat and the captain slid in. "Nice little car, this. I'll enjoy tootling around in it." Oliver was going to explain about the starter, but when he saw the gleam in Harry's eye, he decided not to. On the hour-and-a-half drive, he explained Oliver's part. "Oliver's your point of contact and will keep the base commander filled in on your progress. The base will make the arrest when you have amassed enough evidence. Oliver, I suggest you stay in town and come into base about 3 times a week. Harry wants you to meet up at the bowling alley on the days you pick or find another place. It's up to you. On the plane, they slept, ate, and talked. Oliver silently wondered how the captain was doing starting Harry's car. Harry had been at Lowry for a week. Oliver was stationed off base at Howard Johnson's. In Oliver's room, they went over what Harry had discovered so far. There isn't much to report yet. Classes are just getting going, and the food lab portion won't start till Monday. I've been going to all the recreation places and haven't seen or smelled anything illegal. I think they're careful until they consider the people that are comfortable and safe. Oliver considered Harry's report and thought of an idea. Harry, you might want to start acting stressed out about the course. You're usually confident, so they might pass you over as a possible client. If you're stressed, you might be offered something to calm down. Talk to your instructor about your concerns. Harry considered this a good idea. The next day, he put Oliver's suggestion in action. Dick Sergeant Reynolds, I need to talk to you, please. Dick Sergeant Reynolds led him into the instructor's office. What seems to be a problem here? Sir, I'm having trouble focusing. I've been working as a Sims administrator for a while. I guess the stress of trying to remember all the cooking stuff is getting to me. Tech Sergeant Reynolds was sympathetic and would see if any of the training instructors could give Harry some assistance. Harry thanked Tech Sergeant Reynolds and walked out of the office. In class, Harry displayed all the symptoms of stress. He had a headache, he fidgeted, he even teared up several times. On the hour 10-minute break, Tech Sergeant Reynolds approached him. You really are struggling, aren't you? Yeah, I'm trying hard to focus, and I study all night, and sometimes I can't remember what the heck I just read. I'm not sleeping at night much, so that's not helping either. He rubbed his temples and started to tear up, making a show of trying to control himself. Tech Sergeant Reynolds promised he'd see if he could get him some help. The next day, Tech Sergeant Reynolds approached Harry in the hall. Look, I've got something to help you relax enough to get some sleep. Take it tonight, a little before you plan on sleeping. Oh, don't tell anyone about this. It might prove embarrassing. Harry nodded as if he understood, but wasn't quite sure what was meant by embarrassing. He pocketed the pill and spent the rest of the class still putting on a subtle act of nervousness. Later that evening, he went off base to see Oliver. Good, we're making progress. Oliver held the round white tablet and matched it to a picture grid of pills. Looks like you've been given a Quaalude. Harry agreed. When I was set to leave class today, Reynolds asked me what I planned on doing. I told him to go back to my room and try and relax. He smiled and told me to take the pill then. I swapped it with an aspirin and took that. After 20 minutes, I feigned getting sleepy and relaxed. He escorted me to the dorm and told me to go to bed. Oliver appreciated the way Harry was handling his end. What's your plan now? I'll go to class bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. After 2 days, I'll go back and ask for another. 10 days later, I need something to perk me up, at which time I should be offered something stronger and highly addicting, like cocaine. Oliver agreed. Harry, I'm going to swing on base and keep an eye on Reynolds. I want to see who his pharmacist is. Just remember, if you see me, we don't know each other. Harry saluted and left the room. He was able to get back to his room by taking a surreptitious route. There was a note on the door stating he had been called with a return number. He called back and spoke in a sleepy, lazy voice. Very sorry to get you up. How are you feeling? Sleepy still. I heard someone knocking earlier, but I couldn't get out of bed. Yeah, I feared as much, so I sent the dorm guard to check on you. He didn't see you in your room. Harry chuckled into the receiver. He must not have looked out the window side of the bed against the wall. I rolled over and was wrapped tight in the sheet and blanket. I was hanging off the side of the bed when I woke up. Had a hell of a time unwrapping myself. Reynolds laughed over the line. Yeah, I guess that's why he didn't see you. He said he just poked his head in and didn't see you and reported back. I'll make sure he does a thorough check next time. Get us strangled like that. Reynolds hung up, still laughing at Harry's predicament. Harry made a mental note to see who was on duty last night and keep an eye on them. If they were working with Reynolds and company, it might make it hard for for Harry to see Oliver. Harry showed up to class looking much better. Reynolds again apologized for waking him and was pleased the medicine had helped. On the second of the hour breaks, he happened to walk to a soda machine and spotted Hattie enjoying a soda of her own. He tossed the can and joined Harry at the machine. He offered to get her a soda, which she accepted. He felt a slight pull on his pocket, and she took the soda as they merged and went back to the table. In a bathroom stall, he read the note. Harry, Oliver called me in here to act as his liaison. I'll be here next break. Try and pick me up for a stroll for after class. Harry ate the note. His task completed, he walked into the food lab. It hadn't changed much since he had been here for tech school. No instructors, but that was it. The 12 stoves in a rectangle, shelves of pots, pans, and utensils, a shelf full of measuring cups and spoons. To the backside was a food locker of spices and a walk-in fridge. There was a sign to fill out the Air Force Form 248 for requisitioning the foods they would need for class. He made the pull and chatted with the storeroom person as he waited. He put a supply at each station of what was pulled, then took station 6. His stove and table was at the rear and center of the room. From there he could see everything and had a wall at his back. The first part of the class dealt with the recipe card and measurements. On the break, Harry went to the soda machine again and saw Hattie. He eyed her speculatively, then approached her. She blushed when he asked if he could join her. Over the next 10 minutes, they talked and found they had many things in common. Harry asked if she wouldn't mind joining him for a walk after class. She looked at him with melting eyes as they made their date. Harry trembled with excitement. He was really playing his part convincingly, and so was she. After class, she was waiting at the class door for Harry. They stopped by the dorm so Harry could change and drop off his books. On the stroll, Hattie explained why she'd been called in. Oliver was at your dorm asking some questions when Reynolds' call came in. He was worried that you two meeting was going to be a problem, so he asked if I could come as well. I was on the red-eye last night and arrived early today. He got me a room in the female dorms as a transient. You're lucky to be a senior airman. I have to be in airman first class. She put her arm through his as I walked. Past the security guard reminded them that there was about no public displays of affection. Harry took her arm from Harry's and they continued to walk and talk. They went to the bowling alley and had some pizza for dinner. Sergeant Reynolds passed by, and when he noticed Harry with Hattie, he stopped behind Hattie's line of sight and gave Harry a thumbs up and then went to join his lead group. They watched Reynolds bowl for a while and noticed a bag of some sort passing from one of the bowlers to Reynolds. It looks like marijuana from here, Hattie whispered. Harry nodded. When the person who had passed the bag rose, Harry went to the soda dispenser, filled up his cup. He spent some time looking for some packets of Parmesan cheese until the man came to replenish his own soda. On his league vest was the name Josh Phillips. Harry returned to his seat and passed the name to Hattie. Dropping Hattie off at the dorm, Harry went back to his room. He went over the lesson they had for the day and what could be covered tomorrow. For the next couple of days, Harry showed signs of returning stress. By the second day, he approached Reynolds again. To Reynolds, Harry appeared nervous and agitated. He was right where Reynolds wanted him. He recognized Harry wanted another Quail, but was he desperate enough to ask? Harry started to turn away, excusing himself, and then when he turned back and started towards Reynolds again, he knew he had Harry hooked. I was wondering if it would be possible to get another of those pills. I'm back where I started and need help. There was a plea in Harry's voice and eyes that pleased Reynolds. Hey, sure, pal. See me after the next break and I'll help you out. Oh, I will need to shell out some money for getting these. It's going to cost you $5. Harry's face turned glum, but he reached into his back pocket for his wallet. No, not here and now. On the next break, come to my office and we'll take care of it then. Harry saw Hattie in the break room and indicated success by buying a Pepsi instead of a Coke. As Harry and Reynolds performed the swap, the transaction was recorded on a Minox camera through a crack in the door. She hoped she had gotten something usable as she didn't want to be seen hovering by the door and had snapped multiple pictures from the hip, as it were. Harry came out and went back to class while Hattie went to the base amateur photo lab and developed the pictures herself. She was lucky that the base had a camera club attached to the Arts and Crafts Center. Once pictures were developed and dried, she took them back to her dorm room. Under the light, she checked them with a magnifying glass. She had the pictures she needed. It showed Reynolds, the pill, and Harry. The picture was surprisingly detailed, and she would be able to enlarge it if needed. She caught a bus for off base and went to make the delivery to Oliver. For the next week, Harry took classes and began to become sluggish and disoriented in class. He had received 5 more consignments of pills and checked each one carefully. The price went up each time, and Harry was concerned they might swap one out to test him if he was really taking them. Sure enough, one of them was similar, but there were marked differences. One was an aspirin. He had tasted the first Quaalude in each one. He could tell the difference in look and taste as well as texture. He brought it up to Reynolds, who smelled and gave him the correct pill. Sorry, that one didn't do anything for you. That should fix you up. How you doing now? Harry took the bait. Good. I'm sleeping better at night now. Not so jittery. Trouble is, I need plenty of coffee to get a jump start in the morning. It's not helping much. Reynolds had him come to his office. Harry, I think I have something that'll jumpstart you just fine. He held out a small plastic bag wrapped at 2 ends. Inside were 5 small white crystals. He reached into a pocket of the briefcase and brought out a clear glass tube with some metal and a 1/4 inch from the end. You put one of those into this at the end here, and then just smoke it like you would a cigarette. In fact, you can keep it in a cigarette pack if you need a quick hit. Give it a try and let me know if you need more. Harry thanked him and started to leave. Reynolds put an arm around Harry's shoulder and led him outside. Let's do a hit now. You'd be surprised how much you can accomplish with it. Harry was nervous. He had never done drugs before. He was trapped, though. The investigation was ongoing, and he had to stay in character. He followed Reynolds and lead and smoked. He acted as if his heart would start racing after a few seconds. He acted exalted, as if he could do anything. He was filled with energy. He kept rubbing his eyes and looking around. Reynolds was talking to Harry when Hattie happened around the back of the building. With a hurt look, she admonished Harry for missing their meeting in the break room. Reynolds told her to go back inside and that he'd bring Harry up in a couple of minutes. In fact, Harry was so far ahead he could take the rest of the day off. Within a few minutes, Harry came down. He felt drained and sluggish. Whew, what a rush. Didn't last long, though. Harry sounded disappointed, which was what Reynolds had been hoping for. No, it doesn't. To get through a workday, it sometimes takes a few hits to keep going. Then you may want to take a few cues to ease off at night. Don't worry, I'll keep you covered. Seems like services generally have a problem with being rushed off their feet. A little pick-me-up helps in the crunch. He led Harry to where Hattie was waiting and told Harry he was done for the day. Hattie reminded Harry that he had promised her a walk by the river. The river was the water that ran out of one drain pipe down a slope about 50 yards to another. It ran between the dorms and the commissary. It was also off limits to students. Sitting together, Harry described what had just happened. I was given a small sampling of crack, and Reynolds dragged me outside to smoke it. I was able to convince him I was smoking it, as he was so wrapped up in smoking his own he wasn't paying that close of attention. He was just there to make sure I did, and stuck around. Hattie blew out her breath she'd been holding. Harry, you had me scared. I think I'm going to tell Oliver, we've got to get you out now. We've got enough evidence on Reynolds and his pharmacist. I think Phillips will be only too eager to give us a list of his clients in exchange for a leniency. Harry laid back and relaxed. Good. This case is getting to me. Hattie laid back as well as Harry, and they talked for a little while longer. Getting up, they saw a security forces cop standing at the commissary's side. Harry started walking towards him. Hattie whispered, "You're crazy. Are you trying to get us in trouble?" Harry whispered back as they spaced between them, and the SP closed. Nah, if he was going to bust us, he'd have been walking our way by now. He waved and said hello to the SP. You know that area's off limits to students, don't you? Harry turned wide eyes on the cop. He looked around with a shocked expression. Gosh, no. I didn't see any signs around. Sorry, sir. We'll keep out from now on. The SP looked them over and then hitched his thumb towards the commissary. If you're going to get some grub, better hurry. They close in half an hour. Once inside, Hattie had a fit of laughter. Damn, Harry, you keep a cool head in an emergency, don't you? Harry smiled and bought some lunch meat and tortillas. Oliver sat with the tortillas turkey wrapped and went over the case. We'll pick up Phillips first thing in the morning. Hattie has given me plenty to hang him with. Like you, I think he'll cough up anything we need to save his skin. Oliver was right, and Phillips did indeed hand over all his clients' records. School was placed on hold, and all students were placed on dorm restrictions, all except Harry and Hattie, who was on a Golden Eagle flight back to Mildenhall, leaving Oliver to complete the case. At Heathrow, the captain was there to pick them up, and all the way to Mildenhall complained about having to push start Harry's damn Mini every time he needed to go somewhere. Okay, that's it for today. The next one is Team Spirit when they go to Korea. And that's going to be fun. I went to Korea myself, and a long time ago in the 80s, and had a blast learning about the country. The food was fantastic. So writing that brought a lot of memories back. So that's it for today. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you enjoy these. If you do, leave some messages. Leave a note saying, hey, I like this or I don't like this, and tell me why. I'm working on a new book right now, working on a couple, but the next one's going to be another one of Sheriff in the Small Town. I'm about halfway done now, so we're getting on that one. I may read that before I even put it out. We'll see how people like it. If they like it, I'll put it out. So that's it for today. I appreciate you stopping by. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourself. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.